General MacArthur drops a atomic bomb.
Hello everyone, welcome back. This is 1951, turn 4 for the Allies. Soviets the Communists had made some gains in their turn for turn 4, and now we are going to see how the Allies will respond. Purchases: the U.S. is going to buy an airfield, 2 heavy tanks, those are M48s, an infantry, artillery, and transport. They're going to try and diplomatically influence Saudi Arabia, and the Russians have paid to counter. NATO is buying a destroyer, 5 heavy tanks, and a mobile artillery. And over here, SATO is buying a diplomacy dice for Indonesia, 4 tanks, a tech. They're going to try for heavy tanks. And then China is paying to block their diplomacy. So first we'll start with the U.S.-Soviet rules for Saudi Arabia. Failed. Okay. And then we got SATO for Indonesia. Failed. And then SATO's rule for heavy tanks. Fail. Okay, so that's diplomacy and technology out of the way. So now we'll move on to doing, getting into the Allied attacks and seeing what they've got planned out for this turn. All right, so starting with the attacks. The first attack will come in Spain. 2 tanks have been taken from Holland, Belgium, and have blitzed through Normandy to head down into Spain. The defenders from Portugal are attacking Spain, and the airborne force from Great Britain will also join in the assault, and they are backed up by 3 jets and a regular fighter. Up north, the forces from Denmark and the tank in Murmansk are going back to retake Norway. The rest of the army in Holland is attacking south into southern Germany, while the Italian army in the north is moving into Austria. In the Med, the U.S. Second Fleet is moving to engage the remaining Soviet transports to pave the way, or the last of the remaining Soviet Med Fleet to clear the way for a ground invasion of Turkey. And finally, our last attack is over here. The U.S. 8th Army is leaving the Philippines to grab Kiangsi and its factory there, which is completely undefended. So we'll call that that'll be our first victory right off the bat. And so we'll just start in Asia. So that's swept aside. Ooh, whoopsies. So and because the 8th Army is actually a majority of SATO forces, SATO will claim Kiangsi for 2 IPC. And then, let's see here. Like I said, nothing else is happening up in the north over here. So now we'll round back out and we'll head for the Med for their attack. So we've got 2 Soviet cruisers for defense. The Americans are going in with a cruiser, a destroyer, a carrier, and 2 dive bomber and 2 tactical bombers. Let's see here. I think, can't remember. Can you? I mean, yeah. And they could scramble and then move to the defense. So yeah, the Soviets, let's see how the battle goes, will scramble their tactical and fighter. Well, no, we're not. We'll save them for the ground fight that's coming. Okay, so we have an aircraft carrier for 1, miss. A destroyer for 2, miss. And then a cruiser, well, 2 tacticals with a target select of 1. Though it doesn't matter, there's 1 hit. And then the cruiser misses. Okay, the 2 cruisers will fire, 2 Soviet cruisers will fire back for 3. Ooh, 2 hits. So, gotta take a damage on the carrier, and we'll take out the destroyer. Okay, now, as the Soviets are going to try and retreat the cruiser back into the Black Sea, and it makes it. However, it still paves the way for an Allied invasion. Let's put the ships back. So, unfortunately, because of the loss, the 2 tacticals, let's see. So they'll have to go, well, I guess just for safety's sake, pull this off. Actually, we'll just land them on Cyprus. So they'll be on Cyprus. And the Allied Third Army is moving into Turkey. So we'll head into that battle. Let's see here. Come back over here. Kind of get the battle board in there. Oops. 3 tanks. Okay, the Soviets have a strategic bomber, 2 mech, 2 infantry, mobile artillery, a fighter, and a tactical. All right. And there is no offshore bombardment, so we'll start with 4 Allied infantry for 1. Nothing. 3 Allied units for 2. Nothing. That's one of the kids here. And then the 3 Allied tanks. Nothing. Good Lord. All right, the Soviet strategic bomber misses. They have 5 for 2. That's 1. The tactical for 3. Miss. And their fighter for 4. Miss. Honestly, as the Soviets, I'm going to stick it out one last fight. All right, so the Allies, 3 infantry for 1. Miss. 3 units for 2. Still misses. And 3 units for 3. Nothing. Soviets, bomber for 1. Miss. 5 for 2. Ooh, 2 Allied units. And then the tactical, hit, and the fighter, miss. All right, that's 2 rounds of combat. I don't know if I can keep going as the, well, we'll try a 3rd round as the Allies. So what was that, 3 for 2, still misses, and 3 for 3. God, 1. Okay. Sorry about my dogs, everybody. All right. Soviets fire back. 1 for 1. Miss. 5. 5 for 2. God, Another 1. 1 for 3. Miss. And 1 for 4. Miss. What a battle around Turkey. The Allies couldn't take it, and the Russians actually made it through with barely any losses. So we'll come back over to the board here quick. Boy, and here I thought the Russians were going to want to perhaps pull out after the first round of combat, but they actually held them off. I suppose probably part of it should have been that the Allies should have thrown in some air power to help it, but wasn't enough. Was not enough to take Turkey. All right. Next. Well, let's see. We're obviously going to take Austria because they only have 1 defense against 5 infantry, 2 artillery, and 5 tanks. So we'll just roll the 1 defense for the Russian, who didn't get a hit. So the Russians will lose Austria. And that will actually go to the Americans, because Austria is broken between the United States and Austria. So I'll throw a U.S. marker down to show that the United States has fixed it, and the United States will get 2 IPC back. Yeah, get 2 IPC back. Then we have the attack in Central Europe. The Soviets did, with the use of their radar, scrambled 3 of their jets from Poland to meet the attack. Actually, because I got several artillery pieces going into the fight here. I don't know. See what 1 round of combat gets us. This probably isn't going to go as well as I'm thinking it is all of a sudden. Okay, so NATO gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 for 2. Oh, that was a 2. That's 3. Okay. 2 more for 2. Misses. And then they get 4 for tanks. Get 1 more. And then the tactical for target select. Misses. And then the 2 strategic bombers. And they got 1. Okay, the Russians will respond with 1, 4, 5, 6. 6 for 2. Got 1. 5 for 3. 2. And 3 for 4. 1. Okay, I think I clear the battle board. I think as the Russians, we will attempt to retreat, get the fall back to fall back our tanks to northern Germany. So it's 5 tanks. 5 tanks for 1. They all made it. And then the 3 jets. Hey, damn it. and the 3 jets. And they all made it too, and they made it back to Poland. All right, so that was the battle there. That's another 2 back to the Americans. Yeah, that's another 2 back to the Americans. Okay. Then we'll do the battle up in Norway. So that's an infantry and 2 tanks against an infantry artillery. I'll just roll. So we have 1 NATO infantry, misses, and 2 NATO tanks. Misses. And then the Russians got the infantry. Do one more round. The 2 NATO tanks, misses, and the Soviet defenders, misses. Try one more time for round 3. Okay, the NATO tanks got both Soviet defenders, and the Soviet defenders missed. Okay, so luckily, up here in the north, Norway is liberated by the slimmest of margins, I suppose. The Soviets will lose 3 IPC again, and NATO will get their 3 back. And then last but not least, we have the fight for Spain. 1 second here. While I get all of this taken care of. Try and clear the battle board real fast. Should have done that earlier. Okay. Got 2 strategic bombers. 5 airborne divisions. 2 regular infantry. 2 tanks. And a massive amount of air power as well. I don't think the 6 Soviet infantry are really going to be able to fight it. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All right, so we have the 2 infantry. Oh, there's a hit. Then we got the 5 airborne for 2. 1. The 2 tanks and fighter for 3. It's 2 more. And then the 3 jets. 2 more hits. And that's all of them. So the Russians will fire back with 6 for 2. And they got 1. All right. So Spain, for however short it remained in the communist hands, is no longer communist. Let's see here. Looks like NATO has the majority, so NATO will take control of Spain. So we'll throw that. And all corresponding units will fall under the 10th Army. Yeah, will fall under the command of the 10th Army, which is right here. These transport aircraft will head back to Britain. Same with the 2 strategic bombers. The jets and fighters will return. They'll return to Holland, Belgium. Might need to find another. I have to find another army marker at some point for all of that. Okay, let's see here. I think that just about rounds out the. I think that rounds out the turn, actually. 1 second. Let me just get all this put down. Yeah, I think that rounds out the attacks for the game for this turn. We could just go right into the non-combats. So over in Europe, there isn't much for non-combats at this point. Yeah, there's nothing for non-combats in Europe this turn that I can see. Yeah, no non-combats in Europe. In the Pacific, or here in Southeast Asia, I'm going to take the destroyer. It's going to join the NATO fleet. It's going to join the American First Fleet with its allies off of the China coast. This transport is going to go back to, start heading back. Let's see here. He's going to head back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to head for New Zealand to pick up that guy. These 2 fighters are going to use the newly conquered territory rule. So they will automatically land with the 8th Army in Kiangsu or Kiangsi. These American ships. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to start heading back. Let's see here, up north here. These American ships. The carrier is going to go 1, 2. The carrier. Let's see. The carrier and destroyer will move up to the Aleutians. This cruiser is going to join the fleet up here. The transport here off of California is going to move up with the 4th Marine Division and another tank. These 3 transports are going to come back. And then this transport and infantry are going to head back to Alaska. And then I think that's it. I think that's all the Allied non-combat. Yep. So some successes, some failures this turn. Honestly, I thought the Allies had a way better chance of taking Turkey, and I kind of surprised it failed. But everywhere else, yeah, everything else worked just about as well as I wanted it to. So now we'll deploy. So first off, the Americans are going to take the airfield and create an air base in Kamchatka. They're going to take this infantry artillery up into the eastern United States, as well as with their transport. And then the 2 heavy tanks are going to deploy in the western United States. For NATO, let's see here. So a group of heavy tanks are going to be built. So let's see here. 2 heavy tanks are being built in Italy, along with the destroyer. The other 3 heavy tanks are going to be built. Oh, shoot, I screwed this up. So 3 heavy tanks are going to be built in Belgium. Whoops. And the artillery is going to be built on the UK. Yeah. All right, and then for Sato, pretty easy. The 3 tanks are going to deploy in Malaya. And this 3rd tank will deploy on the Philippines. So, that's Sato's deployment. The US's deployment. At the end of the turn, Sato will get 27 plus 6. So 33 IPC for Sato. The United States will get 51 and NATO will get 59. So, turn 4 is over. Some gains and losses for both sides. Not quite yet ready to call it. I don't think I'm going to try and play as much through this as possible. So, until next time, guys, take care.